Hello! Today I would like to invite you to listen to the composition written by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which is called The Theme and 12 Variations à vous, dirai-je, maman. Listen to the main theme. Do you recognize this melody? Of course, this is the famous children's song, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But can you imagine that this melody with a different text was composed around 1740, and then it became so popular that it traveled across the Europe, and in fact at the moment in nearly every language, every country, there is a similar song with similar melody with different words. At Mozart's time, he used the song, this melody, but with the French text. Ah, vous dirai-je, maman, ce qui cause mon tourment. Papa veut que je raisonne comme une grande personne. Moi, je dis que les bonbons valent mieux que la raison. And it means, oh, mommy, I'm going to tell you what causes my problems in my heart. Daddy wants me to learn how to reason, but I'm not interested. For me, the sweets are much better than reasoning. And Mozart composed variations. What does this term variations mean? In music, it means two things. First, variations. This is the compositional technique. It means that the composer uses a melody, a theme, and then alters it, alters different music elements, and then a new piece is created, but it's different from the original, but at the same time one can recognize the main theme. So this is the compositional technique, but also the musical form using this technique is called variations. Mozart composed 12 variations, and now I would like to invite you to listen to all of them, and we are going to analyze what elements are transformed in every variation. Variation number 1. Listen. Etc. So we can hear and we can see that there are many more notes in the right hand. Before it was this. Now we have this. Okay. Maybe the main melody and the main theme is not as obvious, but I invited somebody to play the main melody on the xylophone, and at the same time I'm going to play the first variation. Listen. So that was obvious that the first variation was based on the theme, and the melody has been altered. Listen to the second variation, which is quite similar, but the decorations are in the melody of the left hand. Listen. pair of variations, number 3 and 4. Listen to the beginning of the variation number 3. Here, the composer divides the main note, crotchet, into 3 notes, the triplet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the rhythm has been changed a little bit. And then listen what else he does here. The element that he rewrites is called articulation. So the way of connecting of the notes. We can have either legato, very good connection, or staccato, notes separate and short. And in this variation, Mozart mixed these 2 articulations. Listen. Or here, for example. Listen again, a bit slower. 2 connected and separate. Connected, separate. Connected, separate. So this is the beauty. There are the details that make this variation very interesting and kind of sweet. Then in the variation number 4, we have the triplets in the left hand. Listen, this variation is quite heroic. Listening to this fragment, I easily can imagine the orchestra playing this variation with the lower section of string instruments like cellos and double basses playing this slower melody, etc. Listen again, both hands. And after these 4 variations, we have a complete contrast. Listen. Something very light and transparent, yeah? Thanks to the changes of the rhythm. Before, the rhythm was stable, but in this variation number 5, Mozart plays with the rhythm. When we listen to such a musical form like variations, we mustn't analyze only separate variations, but we should look more globally and to see the emotional context. Yeah? So before we had a kind of growing emotions, and the first climax in this loud and heroic variation, this one, etc. And after that, suddenly the emotions, after the climax, there is a kind of release. Then we have the variation number 6. The main theme is again in the right hand, but the left hand we can compare to the buzzing of a bumblebee. after that, we have the variation number 7, the emotions growing again. Dynamics forte, loudly. In this variation, the harmony, so the chords on which the main melody is based, are more complicated than in the original melody. In the original theme, we have only 3 chords: C major, C major, F major, C major, G major, C major, G major, C major, C major, G major, F major. In the variation number 7, the composer transformed the harmony. He made it more complicated and more rich. Listen again. Variation number 8 and 9, they form another pair. And in number 8, the composer wrote minore. Minore, it means that the mode is different. Before it was major, joyful, and now it's minor, minore, sad. Listen. And we have lots of imitations of little short motifs. Listen to this. In the right hand, and then the same in the left hand. And again. After minore, we have maggiore, so joyful again. Again, I can hear the whole orchestra playing these variations with the percussion instrument that has the notes tuned. So the percussion instrument that is tuned, one of the instruments is called timpani, playing this sol sol do, sol sol do. Listen again to the variation number 9. Sol sol do, sol sol do. Sol sol do, sol sol do. And after this minore and maggiore, we have the variation number 10, in which Mozart comes back to the previous way of writing. Again, very rich harmony, many chords, different chords, and this kind of virtuoso character. After variation number 10, we have 11. Again, total contrast. The composer wrote here adagio. It means the tempo much slower. peaceful, slow, with very simple melody, which is just beautiful. Listen to the rest. And after this calm and peaceful, slow variation, we have a big final. Listen. Etc. So what did the composer do in this variation, except of putting it in the very, very loud volume? Normally, we had the meter 2/4, 2/4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 beats in a bar. What does the composer do here? Try to count how many beats do we have in one bar. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. He changed the meter. He added one more beat to make it more solemn and more heroic. And on the third beat, we have this kind of ornamentation. Now listen to the rest of this variation. And in this virtuoso, grandioso way, Mozart finished the whole cycle of 12 variations à vous, je dirai, maman. If you ever come across this wonderful composition, try to listen to it carefully, try to analyze what elements Mozart changed in every single variation. Was it the melody, the harmony, maybe the rhythm, the meter? Maybe he changed the tempo or simply the mood. Admire his invention, but also try to follow the story, the musical story that he conveyed using a simple children's melody and transforming it into a 15-minute composition full of climaxes and its releases. Thank you very much for your attention.